Welcome back to the range. Today, we are tearing down the artificial wall between the old school and the new school. We are looking at the definitive list of handguns dominating the American landscape in 2025. We have combed through the data, looking at what is actually moving across gun counters from Florida to Oregon, and we have combined that with a hard look at the engineering that matters most. Whether you are a competitive shooter chasing trophies, a concealed carrier looking for deep concealment, or a senior shooter who needs a bedside guardian that does not require the grip strength of a gorilla, this list has the answer. We are mixing the undisputed kings of the 9mm semi-automatic world with the heavy-duty fail-safe revolvers that are proving to be perfect for older gun owners. We are talking about smart engineering, tungsten-infused frames, patented friction-reducing cams, and triggers that break like glass. We are cutting through the noise, ignoring the glossy marketing ads, and focusing purely on reliability, ergonomics, and raw performance. Let us clear the line and get to work. We are starting at the absolute peak of performance. If you want to understand what a handgun is capable of when cost is not the primary concern, you have to look at the CZ Shadow 2. The Shadow 2 is an all-steel beast designed for one specific mission profile: performance. The first thing you notice when you pick it up is the mass. That heavy steel frame plants the weapon firmly in your hand. Physics is your friend here. The weight acts as a massive heat sink for recoil energy. When you fire a 9mm round through this chassis, the snap is virtually non-existent. It absorbs the recoil impulse so effectively that shooting full-power 9mm ammunition feels more like shooting a .22 caliber rimfire. But the real secret to its flat-shooting nature is the slide design. Unlike most pistols where the slide rides on the outside of the frame rails, the CZ slide rides inside the frame rails. This lowers the bore axis significantly, bringing the barrel closer to your hand. That means less leverage for the recoil to flip the muzzle up. And speaking of the trigger, this is the heart of the Shadow 2. It features a double-action, single-action mechanism that is tuned to perfection. The single-action pull is light and crisp, breaking cleanly without any creep. The reset is incredibly short, almost instant, allowing for rapid follow-up shots that sound like a machine gun. Ergonomically, it feels like it was molded for the human hand. It sports thin aluminum grips with aggressive checkering and a high beaver tail that lets you get a deep, high purchase on the gun. It feels purpose-built for control. Now, there are trade-offs. It is massive and heavy. This is not a gun you are going to carry inside your waistband for a quick trip to the grocery store. It is a Rangemaster, not a concealed carry piece, and the price reflects its pedigree. You are looking at spending between $1,200 and $1,500. But if you want a machine that makes you look like a better shooter than you actually are, the CZ Shadow 2 is the undisputed king. Taking the bronze medal in our revolver category and landing firmly at number 2 overall is the direct competitor to the refined Smith & Wesson line, the Ruger GP100. If the Smith is a finely tuned instrument, the Ruger is a sledgehammer. This weapon is widely accepted as the strongest medium-frame revolver manufactured in the United States. It is built like a tank, prioritizing mass and durability above all else. Mechanically, it utilizes a triple locking cylinder that locks into the frame at the front, the rear, and the bottom. This is a massive engineering advantage. It ensures that the cylinder stays perfectly aligned with the barrel even after firing thousands of rounds of high-pressure ammunition. You can buy this gun once, neglect it for a decade, and still trust it to save your life when you pull it out of the nightstand. For older shooters, the GP100 offers a unique advantage in ergonomics: the peg-style grip frame. Most revolvers have a metal handle outline that dictates the size of the grip, which can be limiting. The Ruger just has a central post. This allows you to install a wide variety of aftermarket grips to fit your specific hand size. If you have large hands with arthritis, you can install a thick, cushioned Hogue Tamer grip to absorb the shock. If you have smaller hands, you can install a slim, compact grip. The customization is endless. There is no sugarcoating it. The Glock 19 is the most influential handgun of the modern era. It is the yardstick by which every other compact pistol is measured. Why is it on this list for 2025? Because of one word: reliability. The Glock 19 runs in mud. It runs in sand. It runs underwater. You can neglect it for thousands of rounds and it just keeps banging. When professionals, police officers, and citizens need a tool that absolutely cannot fail, the Glock 19 is still the default answer. The Generation 5 MOS model finally dragged the Glock 19 into the modern age. MOS stands for Modular Optic System. Straight from the factory, the slide is cut to accept miniature red dot sights. This is a huge deal for modern shooters who rely on target-focused sighting. They also upgraded the barrel to the Glock Marksman barrel for tighter accuracy, and thank goodness they finally removed the finger grooves from the grip. This allows you to get a proper high purchase on the weapon regardless of your finger size. However, you have to pay the Glock tax. The factory plastic sights are garbage and you will need to replace them immediately. And the grip is still blocky. Shoot it all day and you might get Glock knuckle. But for a price hovering between $620 and $700, it holds its resale value better than almost anything else. We are shifting our focus back to the ultimate home defense weapon, the Smith & Wesson Model 686 Plus. This revolver is built on the famous L frame, which was originally designed in the 1980s to withstand a steady diet of full-power magnum loads without cracking. For a senior's nightstand gun, weight is your best friend, and this gun has plenty of it. The full underlug barrel puts significant weight forward, virtually eliminating muzzle rise. When you load this 40-ounce beast with standard 38 special defensive rounds, like the Federal Hydra Shock, the recoil is practically non-existent. It feels almost like shooting a .22 caliber rimfire. The Plus designation is critical here. It means this cylinder holds 7 rounds instead of the standard 6. That is one extra insurance policy when things go bump in the night. I highly recommend the 3-inch or 4-inch barrel version for home defense. The longer barrel provides a full-length ejector rod, ensuring that empty shells are pushed completely out of the cylinder during a reload. This is a vital feature if your fine motor skills are compromised under stress. It is intimidating to look at, absolutely reliable, and handles like a dream. If you are looking for a race car rather than a daily driver, this is it. The Sig Sauer P320 line made history when it replaced the Beretta M9 for the United States military. But the X5 Legion is the competition-ready evolution of that platform. This thing was built to push striker-fired performance to the absolute limit. The magic trick here is the grip module. SIG uses a polymer frame infused with tungsten powder. This is a brilliant innovation. It gives the gun the weight and stability of steel, but keeps the flex and modularity of the P320 polymer platform. The result is a pistol that soaks up recoil like a heavy metal gun, but allows you to swap out slides and barrels with ease. The flat-faced skeletonized trigger is tuned for pure speed. You get a 5-inch bull barrel for match-grade accuracy, and the extended magazine well makes reloads feel like you are cheating. It comes optics ready for SIG's red dots, making it a competition rig right out of the box. Be warned, though, it is way too heavy and big for concealed carry, and with a price tag between $900 and $1,100, it is a premium investment. Number 6 is a legend reborn. Colt has returned to the Revolver market with a vengeance, and the King Cobra Carry DAO is arguably the best fighting revolver they have ever produced for deep concealment. The DAO stands for double action only, and it features a bobbed hammer. This means the hammer spur has been removed, making the back of the gun completely smooth and snag-free. For a senior drawing this gun from under a winter coat or a purse, there is zero risk of the hammer getting caught on fabric. But the real magic lies inside the mechanics. Colt uses a linear leaf spring for the trigger mechanism, whereas most other brands use a coil spring. Why does this matter? A coil spring tends to stack, meaning the trigger gets harder to pull the further back you squeeze. The Colt leaf spring feels consistent from start to finish. This linear feel makes it much easier to keep your sight steady while squeezing the trigger, preventing you from jerking the shot. It holds 6 rounds of powerful ammunition in a frame size where most competitors only fit 5. At 26 ounces, it sits in the Goldilocks zone, heavy enough to tame the recoil, but light enough to carry on a quality belt all day long. If the HK-VP9 raised the bar for ergonomics, the Walther PDP just grabbed that bar and did a pull-up. Released in 2021 to succeed the PPQ, the performance duty pistol took everything good and made it better. The grip texture is aggressive right where it counts, locking your hand down under recoil, but it is not so rough that it will chew up your skin during daily carry. However, the real story here is the trigger. Walther put a factory striker trigger in this thing that feels like a high-end custom job. The take-up is short, the break is crisp, like snapping a glass rod, and the reset is positive and audible. It is widely considered one of the top out-of-the-box triggers on the market today. Throw in those deep, aggressive slide serrations and a frame built around red dots from day one, and you get a compact that is stealing a lot of die-hard fans from the older brands. The only downside is a slightly higher bore axis, which means a little more muzzle flip for some shooters, but for a price between $600 and $700, it is a serious value. Just missing the top spot in our revolver rankings is the polymer revolution, the Ruger LCR. When this gun debuted, traditionalists hated its looks, but function beats form every time. This is arguably the most scientifically advanced revolver for seniors with weak hands. The secret sauce is Ruger's patented friction-reducing cam system located in the fire control housing. In plain English, this mechanical innovation changes the leverage of the trigger. It starts smooth and stays smooth, requiring less force to hold the trigger back than traditional designs. This means you will not pull the sights off target while struggling with a heavy trigger. The frame uses a monolithic aluminum upper and a polymer lower, keeping the weight incredibly low at under 14 ounces. Furthermore, it comes standard with the Hogue Tamir grip. This grip has a special blue sorbethane gel insert positioned right over the back strap to cushion the web of your hand. It reduces perceived recoil better than any other grip on the market. It is ugly, it is modern, and it works brilliantly. We have the gun that basically owns the micro-compact conversation right now. The Springfield Hellcat Pro did not just jump on the bandwagon. It set the standard for what a tiny gun should be without feeling like a toy. The original Hellcat broke records, but it was so small that a lot of shooters could not keep a handle on it. In 2022, Springfield addressed that with the Pro model. They stretched out the barrel and the grip just enough to keep it concealable, but gave it the shootability of a much larger platform. Capacity is the headline here. You are looking at 15+1 rounds of 9mm ammunition, all packed inside a frame that is barely 1 inch thick. A few years back, you only saw those numbers in a full-size duty rig. Plus, the slide is cut for optics right from the factory, so you can slap a red dot on it without needing a gunsmith. Pros: best-in-class round count and solid factory sights. Cons: it is still snappy due to the lightweight. Finally, at number 10, we are having a serious conversation about physical limitations. We are talking about severe arthritis, carpal tunnel syndrome, or injury-related weakness. If the recoil of a standard centerfire cartridge feels like a hammer blow to your wrist, the Smith & Wesson Model 351 PD is your lifeline. This revolver is chambered in .22 Magnum. Now, internet tough guys will say rimfire is not reliable for self-defense, but here is the reality. This cylinder holds 7 rounds. If a round fails to ignite, which is extremely rare with premium ammo, you simply pull the trigger again. The frame is built from Smith & Wesson's Airlight Scandium alloy, resulting in a gun that weighs an unbelievable 10.8 ounces. Because it shoots .22 Magnum, there is virtually zero recoil. A senior with zero wrist strength can dump all 7 rounds into a target's T-zone in under 3 seconds with surgical precision. It allows you to carry a weapon when age or injury would otherwise force you to go unarmed. That wraps up our definitive list of the top 10 handguns for 2025. Whether you need the competition-crushing performance of the CZ Shadow 2 or the featherweight accessibility of the Smith & Wesson 351. PD, there is a tool here for your specific needs. Stay safe, stay sharp, and I will see you down the range.